Hi there. So we're going to look at go inside Season of Discovery Phase 2, and we're going to look in depth at all the different things on it. We're going to see what we think. So I'll pop it on and we'll have a look together. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm not going to read through it all, but in summary, there'll be a link to this in the description. But in summary, I'll give you a brief overview of what's going on. So obviously the level cap's going to be 40. We're going to have the raid size at 10. It's going to be 6 bosses, which I believe is an extra boss. Yeah. We've got Grubbis. It's going to have a new radiation vent that may come into play in this encounter. Got Crowd Pummeler, which is really good. There's a real big good update for feral druids in here, but we'll get to that. I have had a little skim through it before. This boss has moved to a new part where your encounter will occur on a raised platform before a crowd, which looks pretty cool. And I believe this is the new one, Thermoplug. No, that's not a new one. Now has a new mechanical suits as part of his arsenal. Okay, that's kind of cool. Because what he does is he ends up getting into he gets into a suit. If you've not played Nomagon, just jump on classic and you'll be able to experience that. Not Season of Discovery, but I'm sure if you're watching this video you've probably played. So we've got some new loot. Let's have a look. We've got Bonk, Maestro's handguards. So I'm not going to read the names, but I'll give you what they are. So we've got some leather hands, and that's going to increase fist weapons. Fist weapons? Fist weapons coming? Is that a foreshadowing? And increases maces by 5. That's going to be really cool because we usually have like Edgemaster's handguard, right? So the fact that we're getting increase on maces and fist weapons implies that there's going to be some new fist weapons, which is kind of cool to look at. We've got a trinket. Release your domesticated attack chicken that will fight for you for 1.5 minutes or until defeated. I'm not sure how that's going to work. It's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be as powerful as a hunter's pet that can solo a paladin on its own. That's not broken, is it? No. We all know it's broken. We've got a one-handed mace with plus 16 attack power. That's going to be pretty cool for obviously tanks. And I reckon this means that assassination is going to work a little bit more for the rogue. Not assassination. What's the other one? The other one. We've got no trinket as well. 7 stamina, arcane, and nature resistance. Increases your dodge chance by 1%, which is quite a lot. Increases armor by 1,000, but movement speed is reduced by 60%, so that's a tanking trinket. Main hand mace increases healing spells done and effects by up to 20. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure how that's going to compare with the current staff, the purple staff, and if it's going to replace it, because I believe that the one that we have right now is 26 healing and damage, I think. So with an offhand, maybe this is going to make that staff no longer usable, which that staff at the moment is actually better than Staff of Jordan if you look up the stats on them both. An automatic crowd pummeler. Plus 69 attack power in cat, bear, and dire form only. Increases your attack speed by 50% for 30 seconds. So it's crowd pummeler without the uses on it, which is really cool to see. And this one they've made real big. Must be important. Held in offhand. It increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 14. So this paired with the Gear Mender's Grace, that kind of implies that it's going to be at 34 healing, which is more than the current staff, which is kind of cool to see. I wonder if that's going to be more of a side grade or an upgrade, because the other one does have stats on it. I'd like to see the simming of that to see what that looks like. Let's have a look. Transforms these are just some fun items. So transform yourself into a trog. Where could this device possibly take you? Oh well, who cares? So this World Warper, this has actually existed before, and it's just basically a random teleport. And we've also got Radiant Ray Reflectors. The words "deal with it" are etched on the side. I wonder what that's going to do. Moving on now to the item sets. So we've got a hazard leg plate set. Well, it's not a leg plate set, it's just a hazard set, right? Looking at the defenses on this, we've got, the set bonuses, we've got increased defense by 7, plus 16 attack power. Pretty cool for both Paladin and Warrior. However, improves your chance to hit with spells and with melee and ranged attacks. Ranged attacks? I'm not thinking of any that has ranged attacks. Obviously, there's the Warrior's Bow, which you used to just pull something, right? And the Avenger's Shield, does that count as a ranged attack? Does Judgment count as a ranged attack? I know that it's going to be a spell, so that's fine. But I wonder why they've added ranged attacks. That seems strange why they would have added that. Let's have a look at the cloth set. So we've got improves your chance to hit with spells, melee and ranged by 1%. So I think that it's just a blanket thing that they're doing. 100 plus armor, maybe for a warlock tank. Chance on spell cast to increase your damage and healing done by 40 for 10. That's pretty big. Looking at the mail, we've got plus 24 attack power, and your attacks have a 5% chance of restoring 100 mana. Okay, so clearly that's... I don't think that they're actually going to be changing armor sets, so I don't think rogues are going to get mail or hunters are going to get plate or anything like that. I just thought with the way that they've added this on the plate, it seems a bit weird, but it does look like they've added it on the cloth and on the plate, but maybe that's kind of like tin hat theory. And then these power depleted boots, I wonder if to power them up there's a consumable, because I know there's going to be some new crafting stuff coming, so maybe if you power your boots up, they hold a certain charge and they do a certain amount of extra movement speed or damage, or I'm not sure, we'll see. But movement speed would be cool if you power your boots up and it gives you like a flat 25% movement speed. Yeah, I'd definitely like to see some like engineering shenanigans where there's a chance that they can just blow up. Not destroy, but blow up, and you just take like a little bit of damage and get a stun on you. Dungeon upgrades. So this is new abilities that you will unlock. If you remember in Classic, there were the books that you could use and you'd learn new spells. A lot of them were in Diamol. So they're just adding these to existing dungeons just to make sure people are doing content. There is one that enhances blessings for paladins so that your blessings don't last 5 minutes, maybe they'll last 15. Teaches totemic projection. I don't know what that is. I don't play Shaman, but I'm supposing maybe it increases the distance that you can actually place them, or be able to place them at a certain distance. Manual of Redirect. Looking at that one, it seems a bit strange. For rogues, manipulating combo points for rogues and the target these are on, and more. So maybe you can stack on one and combine all the points or something. I'm not too sure. Like your AoE knives that you're going to be getting, maybe they'll cause a combo point and you can use this spell to manually stack them all on one. We'll have to see. There's some new rune abilities. We're going to go through these pretty quick. There is a link in the description, so you can look at your class. I don't want to spend, I don't want to drag this out for too long. But druids, they're going to get Eclipse, which is basically a Starfire increase, and King of the Jungle, Tiger's Fury, now increases all attack damage dealt by you by 15%. Paladins, we've got Sheath the Light, I'm going to go through this one because I play Paladin. Dealing damage with your melee weapons increases your spell power by an amount equal to 30% of your attack power for 1 minute. In addition, your critical healing spells heal the target for 60% of the healed amount over 12 seconds. So you're going to get 30% mana back, but your healing is reduced by 60. So quite interesting, because I know as a paladin I'm actually struggling tanking with mana at the moment. Just to keep it fully topped up and keep chugging along like a warrior can. We're a bit slower. So that's, I think, going to help a lot with the paladins. Guarded by the light. Each time you hit target with your melee weapon, you gain 5% of your maximum mana for 3 seconds. But holy light is reduced by 50%. No, that one's the mana one. This one is 30% attacks power. Okay. Hunters, it seems that they're getting a raptor strike. It's reduced 3 seconds instead of an instant mongoose bite. And they're getting trap launchers, so they're going to be able to fire their traps at 40 yards. We've seen this before in other expansions. Warrior runes, we're looking at Rally Cry and Blood Surge, and they have a 30% chance to make your next slam within 15 seconds instant and cost no rage. Kind of cool. Rogues, we've got Shuriken Toss. Throw a shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage equal to 25% of your attack power, and also strike up to 4 additional nearby targets. So a bit more AoE stuff. Master of Subtlety. Attacks, when you break out stealth, you have 6 seconds and you'll have an extra 10% damage. Priests. Mind Spike, that we've seen this one before, and Pain Suppression, we've seen this one before as well. Warlocks, we've got Invocation, and Dance of the Wicked. You and your demon pet gain dodge chance equal to your spell critical strike chance each time you deal a critical strike to an enemy, and also both regain 2% of your mana. Right, Mage Runes, we've got Missile Barrage. We've seen this one before, I believe. Gives your Arcane Blast a 40% chance, and your Fireball and Frostball spells a 20% chance to reduce the channel duration of your next Arcane Missiles spells by 50%. Reduce the mana cost by 100%, and missiles will fire every 0.5 seconds. And Chronostatic Preservation. Fuse arcane, fire, and frost magic to freeze chronomanic energy into a stored state for later use. You can hold this energy for up to 15 seconds before it combusts and expires. When unleashed, heals a friendly target for 665 to 9. It gives them a heal. That's that looks like a healing rune, which is going to be cool. Looking at the Missile Barrage, that implies that Arcane's going to get a bit of a buff. That's interesting. Shamans, we've got Maelstrom Weapons, Spirit of the Alpha. Spirit of the Alpha, I believe we've seen this one before, infuses the target with the Spirit of an Alpha Wolf, increases all threat generated by 45% for 30 seconds. We haven't seen this one before, actually. Tanking rune, nice to see. Two-handed mastery. Each time you strike an enemy with a two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds. That looks quite powerful. So I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing dual-wield enhancement shamans anymore, but we'll just have to see how it plays out with the other runes that are coming. PvP updates. Beware the Blood Moon. So this is the change in, as Ashton Vale works at the moment, each Horde Alliance gets up to 100%, and then the event starts. First to kill 3 bosses wins. And the way that this one's going to work now is it's going to be more scheduled so that you can plan around it. It's going to be every 3 hours. It's going to last 30 minutes. And the cool thing about this one, it's going to be a bit more interesting, because there's going to be some epics for sale with these points. Now, I'm sure most people are thinking, well, they're just going to run around in raid groups and it's just going to be a slaughterfest. It's not going to be like that, because it states that people who are in raid groups are going to be harshly punished. Don't know how. Maybe they'll get a massive debuff. Maybe they'll get a massive reduction in points. I wonder if people are going to work around this and form large groups. and I wonder if guilds are going to pop up especially dedicated to this. That'd be interesting to see. And them all being in 5-man groups, maybe on Discord or something, and just absolute slaughter. So you get a currency when you kill something, and let's look at some of the rewards. Now, the Gurabushi Arena, which I'm kind of looking forward to, I enjoy that. You will seek out the merchant just outside the Gurabushi Arena, and these are the ones that you're going to get from this blood event. For example, we've got an epic ring, and if you see here, it says unique equipped blood moon. So that means that you're only allowed to wear one blood moon PvP item. So there's a ring and a one-hander. However, I'm sure there's going to be a load of new ones, and maybe there's going to be some like PvP runes on there. We'll have to see. Okay, 2 new mounts. If you look here, we've got a gnome on the tiger. We've got a gnome on the raptor. So that means that you'll be able to pick each. You can choose which one you want. So when you see a raptor running, it's not necessarily going to be horde. It might be an alliance. This is a big one for the Premades. A lot of people was frustrated about when it came to Premades. I've played predominantly in Premades, and it's not too difficult if you're the right class. If you're the wrong class, you're not going to get in, and I feel for them people, because at the moment people are stacking up with a lot of hunters and 3 priests, 2 priests, 3 priests, and some rogues and a warrior and maybe a mage or so. But there's a lot of people that miss out, unfortunately. So yeah, the way that they're going to change it now, if you're in a group of 5, then you're going to be more likely matched with people who are in a group of 5. If you're, and what I mean by that is 5 or under. So if you solo queue, you're going to more likely run into people who are solo queuing, or in a group less than 5. So if there's you and your 2 friends, that's fine. But if you're in a raid group, you're more likely to group with other people in a raid group. So then people who want them really strategic, fun, pre-made versus pre-made fights, they can get that. People who don't and don't want to get absolutely smashed, they don't have to necessarily play that, and they can get fairer solo fights. Because at the moment it's just pub stomping. You load up, you're in a pre-made, you check the roster, see what the composition is on the enemy side. You see that it's not stacked with hunters and priests, and you're like, okay, time to win, and you just go stomp them. It's fun for a bit, but then it gets a little boring because there's no real competition into it, and it's just farming. So yeah, I'm glad that they've actually addressed that, because for Seasons of Mastery, there were a big problem when it came to Altric Valley, and it was more efficient to lose than it was to win. So people threw the match so that they could get more points faster, and I didn't like that. It's not fun. You're just gaming the system to get points, and I'm glad they made that change. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Ashen Veil update is now going to be 3 hours instead of the getting up to the 100% on both sides. So, and it says that the weekly world buff will not apply after level 39, and neither will the Black Fathom Depths one. That will apply after level 39 as well. So there's no need to be stacking both world buffs, because in the new raid there's going to be a new world buff. Let's have a look. Profession updates. This is going to be interesting. They've got some. I did call this. Professions will be capped at 225, and specializations will open up later in Season Discovery Phase 3. So when it says the profession specializations, that's the armor smith, weaponsmith, that's the scale armor, and I think it's shadow armor. I forget that one. And the engineer, and you've got goblin, and yeah, so they'll be opening up in Phase 3. So it doesn't say that they're going to increase the cap, but I suppose they would, but I'm not too sure, because we'll have to see on that. There's going to be approximately 20 new recipes across all non-gathering professions. So that's really cool. We've seen a few in phase 1, some new recipes. This includes recipes for alchemy, enchanting, engineering, along with leatherworking, tailoring, blacksmithing. So new armor. That's really interesting. I like how the making, crafting keep up with this new curve that they've got going on. And players will be able to undertake an epic quest chain to unlock access. No spoilers. I'm looking forward to doing that because I did the one for the boots. That was really fun. I enjoyed that. Recipes will also include new materials. Remember, we're talking about the boots. With the boots, we might be able to power them up with some of these new materials from engineering, who knows, that players will be able to find throughout the game and trade with others to get the items they need most to craft their wares. Here are some of the recipes you will find. Okay. So we've got a new headpiece. Looks like engage the radius mitigation protocols in this helmet, causing you to immediately remove all active poison effects and gain immunity to all nature damage for 3 seconds. Okay, that's going to be interesting, fighting a balance trade with that. I don't think it's too broken, 3 seconds, but immunity to all damage from them for 3 seconds, that's kind of big. Let's have a look at this cloth. Try to scroll this in a little bit. Okay, we've got increase damage and healing done by 22. Okay, that's really cool. Restore 4 mana per 5 seconds. Harness the latent arcane energy in the nearby air to give you charged inspiration, reducing the mana cost of all spells by 50% and increasing damage and healing by up to 50% for 12 seconds. Really cool, mainly healing. But it does say damage as well, so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And player increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by 21. Gain reinforced willpower, preventing silence, interruption effects, and spell pushback for 10 seconds. That's looking real cool. Alchemy and enchanters are going to get something as well. So for enchanting, gain an enhanced signal of innovation, empowering you to deal up to 20 increased damage and attack with spells, and increasing attack power by 20 for 30 minutes. This can only be applied outside of combat with a 30-minute cooldown. So you basically get a Blessing of Might. No, it's even better than a Blessing of Might because it does healing as well. Okay, that's going to be an interesting self buff. I wonder if people are going to be using that in dungeons or raiding, should I say. I wonder if it's going to be a requirement. I wouldn't have thought so, but we'll have to see. It does require to be capped as well. Alchemy restores 262 to 438 mana and health. Also increases attack power by 40 and damage done by all spells by 30. That's PvP. That's got to be a PvP for 15 seconds. Okay, Jake here, just in editing. I've had another look at this and it does say that it creates a potion. So it will follow the 2-minute cooldown on potions just like every other potion does. And I'm sure it will share a cooldown with other potions as well. So the cooldown's 2 minutes, but I'm not sure if there's going to be any side effects after that as well. So back to the video. Maybe that's just a risk it for a biscuit sort of thing. I wonder what the percentage chance on death might be, or if that's just text. Big one. I'm really happy about this, and this is the main reason I'm doing the video. No more GDKP runs. So it's very controversial. It's this, and a lot of people say, well, if you don't want to do GDKP runs, you don't have to do GDKP runs. But the people that do it are spending thousands and thousands of gold. Now, I've got a video on my channel how I make 10 gold. It's actually going up now. I'm making roughly about 15 gold a day. some people are spending hundreds and hundreds of gold on pieces of armor. Now, sure, there's people who grind and farm. There's a lot of people that just buy gold, and for anyone who says that there's no gold buying on, it's not. There's so many people gold buying. There's websites all over the place for it, and my concern is that if people can go out and buy gold to then use on GDKP runs, it creates a demand for that gold, and the demand means that they can charge more and they can make more money. Or it also means new people enter the market. Now, what's the most effective way that people make gold? It's not doing what I do. It's botting. And I'm sure you've seen them in Silver Pine Forest, where they're going in a tree and they're fly hacking. It's boosting as well. Not too bothered about the boosting side of things, because that's usually a person behind there doing it. The people that are breaking the game and breaking the economy are these fly hackers. And it makes it rough because all gathering professions at the moment, pointless. You can get copper for about 40 copper pieces, and then you can process it, and it's about 70 copper. The prices are still really high, so being a middleman of processing that stuff, really good. But what will happen is, if there's less demand, there'll be less botters. Hopefully. Or the prices of it will just go so stupidly low that it'll ruin the economy. We'll have to see what happens. I hope that they address the botting situation, because the botting epidemic is real bad at the moment. I know most people don't see it. Most of these people are fly hacking in dungeons and things like that. So hopefully we'll see some form of information from them about botters. And here's a good thing. It's not too late to join. Starting phase 2, which is the 8th of February, anyone between level 1 and 25 will get a 50% XP boost so that they can catch up. That's pretty cool. And anyone who's doing the BFD raid will also get a real good big XP buff. It is still going to be capped though at the 3-day lockout, just like this new raid's going to be a 3-day lockout. I believe they said it's there's a 2 lockout every week, so I assume that means 3 days. Could be wrong. We'll have to see. So yeah, that's it. I'm looking forward to phase 2. It's looking really cool. They've addressed some of the major problems, which is GDKP and the PvP balancing. We know a little bit more about the PvP event. We've got more crafting stuff that's going to be cool to make a lot of money on. So yeah, I'm pumped. Thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, like it, send it to all your friends. Love you, bye.